Listen, there's a part of you that doesn't want to be understood. I know that sounds insane. You've spent years, maybe your whole life, complaining that no one gets you, that people misread your intentions, twist your words, reduce you to a caricature. You've felt the sting of being invisible in a room full of eyes, the loneliness of speaking a language no one else seems to hear. And yes, that pain is real. But here's the truth you're not ready to face. Somewhere deep in the architecture of your psyche, you've grown addicted to that pain. You've made a home in the misunderstanding. Because being misunderstood gives you something that being seen never could. It gives you an identity without accountability. It gives you the moral high ground without the burden of change. It gives you a story where you're the tragic hero, and everyone else is just too shallow, too distracted, too broken to recognize your depth. Carl Jung called this the shadow, that dark, disowned part of yourself that operates beneath your awareness, pulling strings you don't even know exist. And your shadow has learned a dangerous trick. It has weaponized your victimhood. Let me show you how this works. Imagine you're at a dinner table. Someone makes a comment, harmless, maybe even loving, but you hear it differently. You hear judgment, dismissal, proof that they don't understand the real you. Your chest tightens. That familiar knot forms in your throat. And instead of pausing, instead of asking what they meant, you retreat. You smile politely. You nod. You swallow the words that might bridge the gap. Later, alone, you replay the moment. You build a case against them. You tell yourself, see, no one ever listens. No one ever cares enough to look beneath the surface. And in that moment, something strange happens. You feel relieved, validated, because now you don't have to show up fully. You don't have to risk being vulnerable and still rejected. The misunderstanding has given you permission to hide. This is the hidden pleasure Jung warned us about. The secondary gain. In psychology, a secondary gain is an unconscious benefit derived from illness or dysfunction. But there is a specific hidden pleasure your shadow gets from this hit of dopamine that is more addictive than any drug. I'll show you what it is in a moment. The migraine that gets you out of a stressful meeting. The anxiety that excuses you from social risk. And yes, the chronic feeling of being misunderstood that protects you from the terror of being truly seen and possibly judged unworthy. Because here's the paradox. If people misunderstand you, you never have to find out if the real you is enough. The fortress of misunderstanding is a safe place to live, but it is a terrible place to thrive. You aren't safe, you're just buried alive. Now, why does this happen? Why would your psyche sabotage your own longing for connection? This isn't just a character flaw, it's a survival mechanism hardwired into your nervous system. The answer lies in biology and conditioning. As children, many of us learned that visibility was dangerous. Maybe you expressed your true feelings and were punished. Maybe you shared your dreams and were mocked. Maybe you asked for help and were told to toughen up. So your nervous system made a calculation: authenticity equals pain. And over time you developed a strategy: hide the real self, perform the acceptable self, and when people fail to see through the mask, blame them for not trying hard enough. It's a trap that feels like wisdom. It's self-protection that masquerades as integrity. And your shadow loves it because the shadow thrives in the dark. It feeds on resentment, on unspoken truths, on the secret pleasure of moral superiority. Every time you think, they just don't get it, your shadow grows stronger. Every time you choose silence over clarification, you feed the beast. And the cruelest part, you start to believe that being misunderstood is proof of your uniqueness. That if people truly understood you, you'd be ordinary, calmly just another face in the crowd. So you cling to the misunderstanding like a badge of honor. You romanticize your isolation. You turn loneliness into poetry. And all the while, the real you, the deep self that Jung called the process of individuation, is suffocating beneath the weight of this beautiful lie. But there is a way out. And it begins with a single, terrifying question. What if I'm choosing this? Not consciously, not maliciously, but on some hidden level. What if I'm engineering my own misunderstanding because it serves me? What if the people in my life aren't actually incapable of seeing me? What if I'm just showing them a curated version and then resenting them for not seeing past the curation? This is the work of shadow integration. Jung believed that the only path to wholeness is to drag the shadow into the light, to examine the parts of yourself you've disowned, to ask why you're so invested in a narrative where you're the victim. And here's what you'll find if you're brave enough to look. Beneath the misunderstanding is a fear. A fear that if you speak clearly, without ambiguity, without poetic distance, if you say exactly what you mean and ask for exactly what you need, people might still say no. They might still walk away. And that rejection would be unbearable. Because it wouldn't be a misunderstanding. It would be a judgment of the real you. So instead, you stay vague. You speak in riddles. You give people just enough to blame them when they don't decode you correctly. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, a trap of your own design. Nietzsche would call this the moment where you stop feeding resentment and start creating yourself. They know that being misunderstood is sometimes inevitable, but chronic misunderstanding is usually a choice to hide, a choice to test people without giving them the tools to pass the test. And the Stoics would tell you this: you cannot control how others perceive you. You can only control how honestly you present yourself. When you demand that people intuitively understand you without you having to be explicit, you're asking them to be mind readers. You're outsourcing your emotional responsibility. And when they fail, because of course they will, you get to feel righteous in your loneliness. But righteousness is cold comfort. It doesn't hold you at night, it doesn't laugh with you over coffee, it doesn't see you and stay. So how do you break the cycle? You start by grieve the fantasy that someone will one day arrive with a magic ability to see through all your defenses and love you anyway without you having to lower the drawbridge. That person doesn't exist. And even if they did, the relationship would be exhausting. Real intimacy requires participation. It requires you to say, this is what I need. This is what I fear. This is who I am beneath the performance. It requires you to risk being boring, being wrong, being ordinary, and maybe, just maybe, being accepted anyway. You must also confront the part of you that enjoys the drama, the part that gets a hit of dopamine from feeling like a misunderstood artist, a lone wolf, a soul too complex for this shallow world. That's the shadow talking, and it's lying to you. Complexity is not the same as obscurity. Depth is not the same as distance. You can be profound and clear. You can be sensitive and direct. You can be yourself without needing people to work for it. Here's the practice. The next time you feel misunderstood, pause. Don't retreat into the familiar story. Don't build a case. Instead, ask yourself, did I actually communicate what I meant? Did I say it plainly, or did I hint and hope? Did I give them context, or did I expect them to fill in the blanks with the history only I know? And then this is the hard part. Try again. Say it differently. Say it simpler. Say it like you're talking to someone who cares but isn't telepathic. Watch what happens. You might be shocked to find that people do want to understand you. They've just been waiting for you to let them in. And if they still don't get it, if they still turn away, then you have real data. Then you know it's not about your worthiness. It's about compatibility. And you can move on without the weight of wondering if you were just too complex for them to handle. That wondering is the shadow's favorite weapon. Don't give it the satisfaction. The new self that emerges from this work is someone who doesn't need to be misunderstood to feel special. Someone who knows that true power lies not in mystery, but in the courage to be plainly, vulnerably, unapologetically seen. This version of you doesn't test people, doesn't hide behind metaphors when a simple sentence would do. This version of you trusts that your worth isn't contingent on how hard people have to work to decode you. You become the author of your own understanding. You stop waiting for the world to guess. And in that clarity, something miraculous happens. The right people find you, because you've finally given them a map. The loneliness doesn't disappear overnight, but it transforms. It stops being a proof of your depth and starts being just loneliness. Temporary, workable, human, and on the other side of that transformation is connection. Real connection. The kind that doesn't require you to suffer to earn it. So here's your commitment. Not to the algorithm, not to me, to yourself. The next time you feel that familiar ugh, the one that whispers, no one understands, stop, breathe, and ask your shadow, what am I getting from this? What am I avoiding? And then do the thing that terrifies you. Speak clearly, ask directly. Show yourself without the armor of ambiguity. You might be rejected, but you also might be seen. And being seen, truly seen, is worth the risk of losing the comfortable tragedy you've been living in. Jung was right. The shadow isn't your enemy. It's the part of you that's been protecting you the only way it knows how. But you don't need that protection anymore. You're strong enough now to be understood. And if you're not, if the world still doesn't get it, at least you'll know you tried. At least you'll know you didn't choose the misunderstanding. And that knowledge, that integrity, is the beginning of freedom. Drop a comment below if you're ready to stop hiding. Tell me, I choose clarity. Let that be the first honest thing you say today. Let it be the beginning of your integration. Because the deep self is waiting. And it's tired of being misunderstood by the one person who should know it best.